Good, whatever time of day you're watching this. Ooh, it's nice and cold, and we're going back to the diesel heater experiments to see what we can get it to run on reliably. Where is it? I'll insert some clips now where I got the oil from. Right, so we're out doing a hydraulic oil change on the machine today as part of the service. This was actually had a hydraulic failure, so we've got to clean the tank out to get all the bits of metal out of it. So this is what we're going to be running in the heater. So it's actually this stuff, so it's the Focus HV46 or HVI, whatever you want to call it. Here it is. This is what it comes out like out of the machine. Find the end of the pipe. Find the end of the pipe again, here somewhere. Like that. So it comes out nice and clean. So that's what we're going to try in the diesel heater. So yeah. And this holds 90 litres. So yeah, see what happens, see how that goes. Next thing you see, we'll be trying it in the heater. Right, see what we're dealing with. It's not supposed to be sparkly on the bottom. See all the metal in there. Go over here. This is where the filter assembly lives. Yeah, see what we're I'm changing the oil in this. Yeah, so I've got to swab this out and get it clean. There you go, now we'll go back to the diesel heater. Right, so and here it is. You just saw me pumping the oil out of the machine. I've got one clean hand, one dirty hand for operating the camera. Anyway, regardless, here is the oil that came out of the machine. Now it's been, that was what, a while ago now. I've been away working, and it's been -12 here, and there is ice on the side of the oil container. It is actually frosty. So what we're going to do, we'll get our favourite little plastic jug. We're just going to take a sample out of here. This is one of these electric pumps. It decides it just wants to be hideously useless all the time. There we go. I'll operate it from up here. Oh yes, it's coming out quick, isn't it? Hope you can just about see it, but we are filling the jug with used hydraulic fluid, and this is clean out of the machine into a clean container. There we go, that'll do it. Now turn it off. Perfect. Let's take this over to the oil heater. Right, so here we are, over at our liquid burning machine, and yeah, this isn't the first time I've been running this on hydraulic fluid, because I did have to give it a go. And I mounted this inside where I had it all piped up with the exhaust going out the chimney, blah blah blah. And it started on diesel, because that's what it was running on before. Well, whatever it was, the oil diesel mix. And then I left it running all night on its lowest setting, which was fine until I tried to start it the next day, and it started but it wasn't burning properly. So there's clearly an issue with it getting coked up inside, so I took it all apart, and yeah, sure enough, it wasn't burning hot enough to remove all the muck. So I'll insert a video of me trying to start this last night when it was really cold. At the moment it's about 3 degrees, but the heat is at -1.7 at the end. So here's the video of the flare video from last night. Right, I have seriously had my doubts this evening. The oil is at -7 degrees. It's trying to go. Just about read it. 2 minutes in. It's producing some heat. Most of that's probably reflected heat from me. Making smoke, but I don't think it's really lit. Bing. Before I chuck this in, because this is probably about 9 o'clock at night. It's really cold. It's going to have a failed start for sure. Look at this, sounds like it's trying. I am a lot warmer. Can feel the pump going. put my hand on the heater, warm it up a bit. It's making some noises like it's trying to fire, but judging by it, we're going to have a failed start. Anyway, we go back to a daylight video because it's currently night time and very, very cold. Today, we're going to take this oil, which we're going to find the temperature of now. You can see the temperature display. It's warmed up from my hands. So the oil is at minus, we'll call it -3. So I don't think it's going to like this. I have a piece of rag here somewhere. So yeah, I don't think this is going to work. Didn't work last night, probably won't start this time. Now what I have found is if you're going to try burning oils through this, you're going to have to mess with the settings in the controller to make it burn. Otherwise it doesn't burn well enough and it will not light. Because as soon as it's in its starting sequence where it starts ramping the fan up, it just blows the flame out. It doesn't give it a chance to get going. So first off we're just going to put straight oil in. Straight hydraulic fluid, nice and cold, not as thick as I thought it'd be. The only reason that it burnt engine oil previously, I think, was because it wasn't as cold as it is now. So let's connect the power up and we get going. Right, power's connected. Let's get the temperature probe somewhere in here. See if we can angle that in some way that it can be seen. Like so. If you're gone, that's close enough. So it's cool. Coming back down to temperature and go. So she's on. It's already running slightly modified settings, but I still don't think we're going to start. I imagine we're going to pump a lot of smoke. So it's heating the glow plug. At the moment, there is no pumping action. And yes, here comes a bit of smoke out of it. But not the easiest to see with the exhaust pointing that way. See if we can modify it for better vision. So it's only a tiny wisp of smoke at the moment. Oh, here it comes. The long awaited clouds of smoke, with it trying to start up on cold oil. Hopefully it'll go. It might not. Pump has not started yet. I thought we may as well just go straight in and run it on hydraulic fluid from a cold, freezing cold start, just to show you that this is not a perfect process and you're going to have trouble. While it's doing that, I'm trying to find the flare. And we want a temperature point on it. For some reason it's giving me 0 degrees as everything. There we are. So the exhaust is still cold, -1 degrees. The pump has begun. And look, we should start seeing some heat from it. I know it's not going to be a perfect representation because the flare can see reflections, hence this pipe looking really warm when it's not. That's it, just reflecting me. So as you see at the moment, we're just producing a good amount of smoke. It sounds like the fire is lit. Is it going to be able to sustain? You can't hear the pump at all, not running this hydraulic fluid mix. I may have to open this big window. So I'm putting my hand on the pipe now because obviously the flare is saying that it's not even warm yet. It's certainly going to try. I'm getting 4 to 5 degrees. I can hear it running. It might actually start. The trouble is it's not running well enough at the moment for it to really tick the boxes and say it's working. Let's get that up so we can see what's going on still. Hopefully I can get the manifold temperature by pressing OK. 2 degrees. I'm pretty sure that's the temperature it's sensing here. If I put my finger on there, yeah, so that's the temperature of the sensor in the bottom of the device, it warming up. No errors yet. Smoking like a good one. So now it's ramping the fans up, but still hasn't measured. Someone's saying that's just the temperature you've set. No, that is the temperature on a bar graph of what the burn chamber temperature is. It's measuring. You see, it's ferociously blowing out smoke. Fire is still going. Up to 22 degrees. It's absolutely churning it out. Running on 100% very, very cold hydraulic fluid. This might actually do it. The glow plug's gone off now. Doesn't sound like it's burning anymore. Oh, the flute has gone to sleep. I don't think it's not worked, does it? That is a failed start. Definitely failed. It's going up to 30 degrees, it's still trying to ramp up. The exhaust pipe is at 12 degrees, 13 degrees. Fairly warm. So that hasn't worked, unfortunately. Shut it down before she just pumped oil into a knackered burn chamber. Now we will see it begin to belch tons of smoke as the glow plug tries to get going again. So that's what that does. It's the same as it did in that Fleur gear last night. Well, the chances are I could try and restart it now and see if the little bit of heat it's got in it's enough to get it going. And as you see, if you're relying on this as your main source of heating, having your oil outside in the cold probably isn't going to work for you. So yeah, I'll let it finish its cycle thing it's doing, since now it's starting to burn off some more oil, and we'll try again. Okay, give it a went in. And for anyone complaining about you shouldn't be breathing that in, I've now opened the giant window, which is this giant window thing I made that folds down. And yeah, it's smoked start to finish. Send it on its way again? Yes sir, let's go. See if I can move you back to get a better shot of the smoke cloud it's trying to blast out. Yeah, maybe too far back. I also want to see the temperature of what's going on. 19.8 degrees. We're going here for the second attempt of starting with extremely cold oil. Do you reckon it's going to work this time? It's worth a try. It's continually wisping smoke. Here we go, it's starting to blow some out now. Now what I've found while we're here trying to restart the heater is that the original settings for my burner in this one, it was set at 1.6 Hz to 5.7 and 1500 RPM to 4600 RPM. That's what it came from the factory setup. And basically, if you don't, you should understand this. If you're trying to run one of these in oil, watch a video on how to do all the adjustments, but we're going to do that anyway. Is at 1500 RPM it'll do 1.6 Hz, and at 5.7 Hz it'll do 4600 RPM, and it just draws a linear scale between those 2 points, and the fan speed matches the Hertz on a linear scale. At the moment I've changed it, so I think mine only goes at 3000 RPM at the moment because it kept flaming out and I was messing with it. But here we go. The pump has started. Kind of hear combustion. Here we are. The glow plug is still on. Let's bring that down. I think my maximum Hertz is only 4.2 at the moment. Yeah, trying to reduce the amount of oil it was chucking into it. We'll set it at 3, so when it goes through its startup cycle, it's not trying to run too hard. Let's see what happens. Are we going to get another flame out? Should we try turning the fan speed up? At least you can see the smoke is blowing away now. So it's starting to try and ramp up now. Still at the 1 bar of measured temperature. I can't seem to get the manifold temperature up on this. 32 degrees at the outlet. I can still hear fire, but the glow plug is still on. I've got 2 bars of heat on measured on the thingamabob. We're at about 50 degrees on the air outlet. So this might actually go this time. Yeah, we've got it to yellow now. The glow plug is out. Do you reckon it's going to keep it up, or we're going to have a flame out? 71 degrees on the outlet. The smoke is still there, but it's looking a bit bluer now. It's puffing a bit here and there. I think it's going to go. We're at 4 bars of measured heat in the burn chamber. Got 2 red bars come up. And then we want 1 more red bar, and then she's operating temperature apparently. Up to 104 degrees on the air outlet. It's pretty good considering it's taking 3 degrees in. 112. That's actually measuring the, it's touching the end of the burn chamber, that temperature probe there. So yeah, second attempt, that's lit. On very, very cold hydraulic fluid. Now the problem is that going to be burning hot enough for it not to bung the machine up with muck? Because I could start this machine on diesel and switch it off on diesel, then I've got to move pipes around when I can't be bothered, and it's freezing cold, you don't want to be getting covered in fuel. Because I haven't got on-demand hot water here, I have to switch on the thing and it takes ages. I want to be able to run this from cold on the oil that I've got. So we're going to run her up to maximum that I've got it set at, which is 4.2 at 3000 RPM. That might just flame it out, I don't know. What I need to do is really switch it over to diesel just to get an idea of what it should be running like. It's only just finishing its startup sequence. Oh, a bit warm. Oh. Now, that seems to have started alright. I wonder what it'll run down to. I don't want it cranking away all the time. It's not about getting the most heat out of this, it's about it being able to throttle down and run low and slow. Warming my hands up while also stood in front of the exhaust. Let's try and get the air temperature. About 120ish degrees air feed up to end temperature, so that's not too bad. 130. there somewhere. So yeah, that's running, it's burning clean. It's producing a good amount of heat. So, don't worry about that thermocouple temperature. So right, let's have a quick look through the settings that I'm using that this is working at. You go press that thing to get those. You go down, 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 1, 6, 6, up, up, up. Okay. Oh no, that's wrong, isn't it? Just really get it wrong. So it's, oh, I went the wrong way. 1, 6, 8, 8. So I got it on a minimum of 1.6 hertz. Oh, it's just run out of oil. No. How dare you? That's not great. Right during our test, but yeah, it just ran out of oil, so it's probably going to flame out. Let's start again. Oh, where is it? No, it's there. Down to 1, then up to 6, then up 3 times, go. So on 1.6 minimum hertz, 4.2 maximum, 1500 RPM minimum. We'll go all the way through that, and 3500 RPM maximum. And that seems to be able to let it start quite nicely. What I do need to do is try and reduce the amount of fuel that's going into it now to the point where it's burning clean. So that's probably what we're going to do next. Mess about a bit. Let's get set up for that. Right, so for the next part of our experiment, we have moved a bit closer. We can see the temperature display at 183.2. And this is measuring the temperature on the end of the burn chamber. So if we come over here, look in there. Put you back here. Right. 84. So now what we're going to do is try and get it as lean as possible. I'm just going to put a bit more oil in before it runs out. Make sure we've got plenty, not that being a problem. Yeah. Right, so we're going to go back to our menu. Down, 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 down to 1, up, 6, up, 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 up. There we are. So the minimum is 1.6, not worried about that at the moment. The maximum 4.2. Let's try it on 4 and see if our temperature goes up or down. 1500, 3500. Go. So that's now going to reduce its fueling rate. We're at 185.4. So we're going to come back in about a few minutes. You can already see the temperature going up a few points. Then we come back in, oh, say we're at 19, we'll come back at 24. Rightio. Right, so we're back. So it's been a few minutes. So yeah, we're at 4. 4 was the current hertz. And we're at 25 minutes into the test. And we're at 178 degrees. So, pizza box science. We were at 185, now we're at 178. So we have in fact reduced the fuel and gone down in temperature. So, how low are we willing to tolerate? So that's coming out of there. Pretty damn warm. So now we're going to drop this to 3.8 hertz and see what we get. So we go into our doofer again. That one. This. Go past it. Go down to 1. Okay, up to 6, and 3 times up to 8. 3 times up to 8. Okay. Don't bother the bottom hertz. We're going to 4. 3.8 maximum. You see it? We are going okay, 1500 RPM, but we're running at maximum 3500 RPM. Keep pressing OK till we're back there. Now we see what happens. So it's 26. Let's come back at 30 and see what we get. Oh, it's too early for beer. Just watch it a second, just see. As you can see, that's 177. Oh no, I'll put the temperature back. Right, we are at 33 minutes on the timer. You can't really see, but they are. So at 3.8 and 33 minutes in. 34 minutes in, and one coffee later. And we have dropped to, let's call it 174, so we lost 4 degrees. Still see the, there you go. Right, let's drop her again. Let's see how far we can go till we get a flame out. Back into our menu, down to 1, up to 6, 3 up to 8, 1, 2, 3, and we're at 0.6, 3.8, there, 3.6 hertz. Cycle through everything, still at all the same speeds. 34 minutes in. Still got full heat bars on the heat bar thing above. Up and up in temperature. The probe moved from its spot. That's better. So we're already starting to cool down. What point do we get a flame out? So 35 minutes into the test, let's come back in 5 minutes. I'd like to point out, probably just hear the burner. Still sounds like it's burning nice. So, ooh, steam the lens up. This is not the optimum configuration for exhaust. It shouldn't really go uphill and have bends and stuff, but never mind. Come back in 5. Right, so we're at 38 minutes and we seem to have stabilised at 166 degrees now. 3.6 hertz. Well, science, because we're keeping the results. Let's knock it down a bit more. I went past it. There it is. So down to 1, up to 6, 3 up to 8, 3 up to 8. 1.6, 3.6, 3.4. Okay, go. Same speed on the fan. 39 minutes in. Let's see what we've stabilised that now. See what happens. Back in a minute. Right, so we start to stabilise out at 3.4 hertz at 3500 RPM. Still sounds like got a good burn. I'll point out this isn't a diesel heater, this is a fission machine, so this is nuclear fission. Whatever fission is, or fission. Yeah. Fission machine. Apparently an 8 kilowatt, but I don't think there's a lot of difference between an 8 and a 5. Right, so yeah, we're going to call that stabilised at 153.1 degrees. At 3.4. That's 153. Right. We've still got plenty of oil. Let's knock her down another notch to see how low we can go. We're still running all the red bars on here. Down to 1, up to 6, up to 8, and 3.2. Go. Alright, see how it goes now. It's starting to sound a bit like it's missing. I'll take you round. Really? hasn't moved. Right, it's been running a little while at 3.2. We seem to have stabilised at 138 degrees. The heater is sounding unhappy, like it's barely sustaining combustion at this point. So let's take it round to the exhaust. Right, so yeah, it's definitely starting to sound a bit like it's not happy. So we are sustaining all the temperature bars. So, what we're going to try now, well, we're at 138 or something, wasn't it? Let me just write down the science. Spectators have arrived. I don't know about that. That one's called Twiggy. He's got a twig. Back to the heater. So yeah, I'm going to call that 140.5 degrees. It's stabilised at 3.2, but it sounds like it's going to flame out. 140. Now we are at the point, we do want to go any further down because we're losing temperature at over 10 degrees every increment now, so it certainly won't be coming out as warm as it should, and we're probably going to start fouling at the burner. So what if we start going up from 4.2 up to say 4.4? Let's try that. So do this again, so you're down to 1, up to 6, up 3 times to 8, up 3 times to 8, 3.6 minimum, 3.2, bring it to 4.4. Let's see where that nets us. Why do it always sound like it slows down? It always does that weird slow down thing in the menu, and then it comes back. I checked the battery voltage as well while we're here. Oh, the show must be getting good now. We've got a right crowd appearing. What are you doing, sheep? Sheep! They are odd creatures. I don't know what they're doing, but I think they're all deciding to migrate that way. Which means I might have to shut the van door before I end up with sheep in the van. So they're taking an interest to it now. Stop licking my van. I think maybe they want to drink because the water's frozen, so maybe I'll find something to give them a drink. So I've just realised what they're doing. They're licking the road salt off the van, aren't they? So obviously they grit the roads with salt, so they're just cleaning it off for me. Right, so it's been a few minutes, stabilising out, so we've got on setting 4.4, 195. So that's bumped us up 10 degrees from 4.2. Have a look at the science box. 195. So the logical thing to do now is bump it up a bit more. So back in the menu, crank up to 4.6. Wherever it is, we go down to 1. Up to 6, up to 8, to 8. 1.6, 4.6. There we are, send it right through. Back to the start. Go. I've been out in the cold an hour and 2 minutes making this. My feet are starting to get pretty damn cold. So let's see what benefit that nets us. Back in the fuel. Also, I forget to mention I have to consistently top the oil up. Maybe using my little test cup is not the perfect way of doing this, but yeah, at least I can keep an eye on how much it's actually using. Back in a minute. Right, so we've stable out at 4.4, no 4.6 even, 213 degrees. We do appear to have a bit of an odd variable, is that the exhaust is warming the oil up. So at some point I've probably got to make up a way to use some of the exhaust heat to preheat the oil going into the heater to make it easier for it. Because that oil, every time I pour new cold oil into there, we drop the temperature by about 8 to 10 degrees. Maybe I need to set this up into the actual cold drum of oil. But either way, it's climbing again because it's probably warming up the oil that's coming into it again. So we're going to call that 217. climbing, it's warming the oil up. There we go. Yeah, see, it's climbing again now because that's hot exhaust is warming that pot up. So also in the last video, I can press the OK button and bring up the manifold temperature. That just brings up the external temperature, which I can warm up by putting my finger on the bottom of the sensor here. So I press and hold it. 12 volts, error code, time. Mine doesn't appear to have that function. And there's also the Twin Peaks function, mounting, which leans it out. If I hold these two, press these two, yeah, it doesn't appear to do it on mine. The lamp button, I don't want to press the power one just in case it switches it off while I'm in the middle of doing this. We're going to try whacking up to 4.8 anyway and just see what happens. I'll show you what I mean in a second. We're using oil up faster than I can keep it stopped in. So, hold on. Right, so just for the science side of things, I'm going to pour some cold frosty oil in. There we are, topped it back up. Just see what it does to the temperature. So now it's to run off cooler oil again. So see it's starting to drop. Seems to cycle up and down anyway. I mean, it just gets up to a temperature, sits out for a bit, and then dips down and up and down, even though the pump speeds both remain the same. Nonetheless, we can watch it come right down now, as that nice cold oil gets pumped in. So yeah, I'd say it's probably dropped as low as it's going to get, 210. We're not 7-8 degrees off, and then they climb back up. My feet are freezing and I'm on for the second cup of coffee. I'm even stood on a piece of cardboard to try and keep the feet a bit warmer. That's a good coffee cup, not there, let's just right, let's knock it up to 4.8. There she. Oh, I went the wrong way. Down to 1, up to 6, up to 8, up to 8, 1.6, 4.6. Now put it up to 4.8. Cycle through, all the same speeds, blah blah blah. Make sure it's on it, maximum at 4.8. See if that nets us any benefit, or if we just get cooler after this point. So we'll give that a minute. We'll already see it start to climb. There will come a point where it's just too much for it. So yeah, we'll come back in a minute. Right, so it's been about 3 or 4 minutes. It's come up to temp. Just have a look at the exhaust temperature, where we're at somewhere around. Trying to get it, it's still 140 degrees at this bend. And yeah, just saying about condensation building up in the exhaust. That might be at the start, but when we're at 140 degrees in this setup, that's going to be a problem. Now I'm just watching the temperature plummeting down again. I haven't changed, it was up to 130 and now it's come back down. So it just seems to go up and down on its own to its own accord. We're still pumping plenty of oil, no problem there. Yeah. We'll watch it, might climb back up in a minute. Are we at the point where we're not getting any benefit from adding more oil? That could be the case. I could get a one of those gas meters to read the output from the exhaust, but I'll be honest, messing about like this is good enough for most of us, isn't it? We don't need fancy meters and readings that we don't understand. But yeah, 4.6 we were at 217 degrees. 4.8, we're not really, don't seem to be gaining. it a minute just to see if it'll get back up there, but I'm not sure we're at the point of diminishing returns now. But that air coming out of there is lovely and hot. The heater's nice. The plastic doesn't get too hot, which is good. See, she's climbing again. I'd say, no, she's going for it. I have no idea why it cycles up and down like this. .17, we're back to where we were at 4.6. It's climbing fast. Up to 220 nearly. There we go. See what I mean? It's just up and down, it just does what it likes really. This is really strange. .23, where's it going to top out at? Wherever it tops out, that's what we're going to call it. It was already up at 230 a minute ago and then it just plummets. What's the exhaust sounding like? Still sounding like it's burning well. Mind you, it sounded quite happy all the way through the test, so... A lot of people in Christmas hats walking down the lane. Here we go, we're up to 230. This is about where it peaks out, I think. Yeah, 230. Yeah, so we're going to call it a 230. As you see now, I've changed nothing and it's on its way back down again. So I don't quite know why it's what's making it so unstable. Still got plenty of oil coming in. We are going to have to top it up again. How quickly you're going through oil at these speeds. I mean, I say quickly, there's only like 100 mil in the pot, but yeah, we see it going up and down. So what are we going to take from this? I think at 4.8 where it's just getting too unstable, it's up and down in temperature. I'd say around the 4.4, you can still see the thing, 4.4, 195, somewhere between 4.2 and 4.4. Let's try it on 4.3. Last one. And then we'll call it. Uh, 4.3. Shoot for the middle ground. I checked the battery voltage, the battery's plenty of juice in it. Now we'll see where we net at 4.3, because that's somewhere between 185 and 195. So yeah, we'll let it do its thing and cool down and see where we get to. Right, so that's been a few more minutes. It's sat at 220 and it's stable. That's running on 4.3 Hertz. So that should be somewhere between 185 and 195, yeah, it's quite happily sat there. So what I'm going to do now is switch it off. Let it do a power down cycle. And just to add, the burn sounds good as well. Yeah, that's going to wind itself down. Obviously the temps can go through the roof now because the airflow is going to drop. So yeah, I hope you found that somewhat useful. We're still running the glow plug now and the fuel pump's still running as it does when it shuts off. We'll let it cool down and we'll come to a conclusion. As it shuts down, the ever-present bit of wisp of smoke comes back. I don't quite understand why we have a wisp of smoke. Glow plug's on. I thought it would burn clean. So, it comes to our conclusion at this point is that I have to run this on a slower burn speed in order to prevent it just blowing the fire out every time you start it, especially when it's freezing cold. And it usually takes 2 attempts to get it to go, but you have to be listening for that exhaust note, because as soon as you hear it not burning anymore, you have to turn it off, let it cycle down and then recycle it, and it does tend to go. I did run this for 8 hours all night on a 1.6 on its original settings, which was something like 1.6 at 1500 RPM, and yeah, the next day it didn't want to start, and it did start, but then it sounded like it was running terribly. No, I think it was just too much air flowing through it, blowing the fire out. Oil tends to, the thickest hydraulic fluid seems to be a really harder to burn oil for it, so you've got to take the fan speed down to stop it running. Well, it just blows itself out essentially. Unlike diesel, it's thin and really eager to burn. The oil's thick, cold and quite unwilling. This is just my experiment and what I've found of it so far. I end up having to disassemble the heater, take the little gauze out the glow plug, heat that out with a blowtorch to get all the muck off it that I'd built up, and inside the burn chamber. It wasn't coated on the burn tube or the inner walls. It was right at the back where the little star-shaped thing is, where all the actual air comes through. That's where it blocked up. And that was very hard to clean out. But I managed to get enough of it out to get it working again. Ran it on diesel for a bit, and hopefully that cleaned it up. But ever since then it seems to have worked quite nicely. May as well switch this off now. On the exhaust. Off. And there you go. Pizza box science for you with the diesel heater. As you see from our results, it's not perfect. We had some variables, but dropping down the flow rate at 3500 RPM diminished the temperature quite quickly, but at 4.2, 4.3 Hertz we found a sweet spot. Anywhere at the 4.6 to 4.8 the temperature's just up and down, and there's obviously not burning very well at that point. So yeah, there were a few things to try on the controller, pressing certain buttons to bring up the manifold temperatures, but I don't get that. Holding the lamp button in the OK puts it in mountain mode or twin peaks. Doesn't seem to work on this one, unless I'm doing it wrong, which I probably am. Yeah, there we go. Running the diesel heater on HV46 hydraulic fluid, so high viscosity stuff with a higher viscosity. Works. Don't know how well it's going to work over a long period of time, but in a week I can do an update video of how this heater has worked on the settings we're using now. So we are running 1.6 at the minimum speed, I think. Yeah, but let me just go through my settings again. This is what I'm using to burn oil. Like waste hydraulic fluid, 1, 6, 8, 8. So 1.6 is the minimum flow rate. I don't recommend trying to run these too low when you're running oil. You want to find where it burns nice and to turn it on and off when it's too hot, not turn it down low. 4.3 is our maximum. The minimum fan speed 1500 RPM, and the maximum fan speed is 3500 RPM. And the rest of this I don't know what it does. And that's it. An hour and 35 minutes out in the cold for you. Thank you for watching.